stands, but most definitely.
How many of those 6 employees that you trained are still with you?
All but one.
So 5.
Yes, sir.
And the nice thing about it is that we cross-train. So we
Right.
brought people from the water department. We also had Eli, is that correct? Eli
Yes.
also took the training because he's the maintenance person. And so if you know how to operate it, then you should know how to maintain it. And so he also participated in that. Cross-training was our first time we had a cross-training. I thought it was really important to bring in for other staff. We really got staff to get on board. So we fed them lunch. We had it here. It was on site. And I think it was one of the most successful ones that we've had recently, and we're hoping to have more.
And then, can you give me an update on the streets that we live in? I know we put the signs up, but those aren't our streets, right?
They are our streets. No, ma'am, they are our streets. Mindy Riley, well, it's just a matter of recording. So you can imagine that when you approve the plaque, it said at the bottom of the plaque that these will be city streets. The problem that we're having is that the appraisal district requires a deed to be recorded, and the deed never really actually happened to record. It was a responsibility of the owner to record the deed. Our attorney prepared several different letters. They sent to the owner, Mr. Ricks. Mr. Ricks, several different times. He finally got it, finally recorded it right around Christmas time, so it is recorded. Once it was recorded, those were officially our streets. That's why we put the signs up.
So those will be the number one to cover up those potholes?
Okay, so the potholes in the entryway,
Yes.
that is not a high criteria on our list. And actually, in your development agreement, Mr. Richard Coons has agreed to tack on an additional amount on his builders to fix that road. Once he's proved to the city, because we get to collect additional amount, once he's proved to the city that he's spent X amount of dollars, and I think he came in about $65,000. Once he's proved to us that he's fixed this, then we will reimburse him the money that we're collecting ahead of time of capital. And the attorney put that in the development agreement. Is that right?
That's correct.
So he'll be fixing it, not us.
At a later date, Henriette?
He actually plans on starting this season. Not only are they planning on doing that entryway where it's really bad when you first come in, but also they're planning on repaving the private drive that leads to the country club.
Yes.
And he spoke to Alex in reference to, we want them to match the city streets, and so the depth and how many inches of base and those kind of things we discussed. Or actually on site when we went to go double check the sign.
Good job, Mr.
Thank you.
Alex.
Thank you.
Did anybody have any questions for Alex in the audience? Okay. Now we're going to go on to item 2C, wait, hold on. D, City Parks Project Update. Danny?
Howdy, Danny Aranda, Park Supervisor.
Diddy, can you tell them how long you've been park supervisor?
About 8 months.
Okay, just give me 1 second, then I need to get you up. Start all over. Better run this, start all over.
Well, I'm here to give you updates on our equipment that we just got. Want me to start off without getting you started?
No, wait for me. Okay. All right.
Okay, equipment. We purchased new commercial weed eaters just this year. Last year we got 3 new lawnmowers in 2014. We got a shredder repaired, put some safety lights on it so we can get it going. And we also purchased 2 mowers for the water and sewer departments. carbon cuts and cleans and maintains citywide locations. One of them is the four corners on the intersection of Highway 97, Highway 181, in connection with Highway 97, TxDOT easement, the city park, the Pecan Park, no dive basketball court, Watts tennis court, and Cantaranas Park on Goliad Road. Also, all easements in various alleys, and all easements on 97. Cemetery number 1, cemetery number 2 on Plum Street, the skate park, hike and bike trail, bar district citywide, Masonic soccer fields and cemetery off at 97 East. We also do some city hall cleanup on Wednesdays and Fridays. Parks cleanup on Mondays and Fridays.
Manny, is the Brown Street location on the schedule?
Yes, it's a need.
Is that, okay,
Yes.
did
I got quite a few, but I can't put them all on the paper though.
yeah, did I get calls on that?
Yes, yes. Okay, moving on. We're going to start this program in the spring on the maintenance, starting this week of March. We're getting our mowers fixed with new blades. We're tuning up our weed eaters. We do a little bit of general maintenance on trees. We got a lot of trees that have been falling down, like on the hike and bike. I got one that I cut down at the arena. So we do various cutting and a little bit of everything. On the park and grounds maintenance and repairs and watering at City Park, we're doing a lot of work. We got vandalized in one of the restrooms over there. Yeah, and it's kind of old, so we're getting that together so we can get it going.
The restrooms at the skate park, they're not in use?
We're trying to get those going.
They are locked currently, presently they are locked.
And we do maintenance for the city hall and police department.
Henrietta,
Yes, sir.
do we have any contractors for the city hall and PD?
There is a clean person that goes to the police department, but as far as the city's concerned, no, sir, we do not. We share him from the event center, but Warriors events are keeping him very, very busy. So he can't get over all the time, so the park
So we help them out.
to come help us out in the morning before we open up.
How many employees are with the parks?
With the parks, I got 7 with the guy that shreds the grass. The rest of those, I try to keep my guys in groups. I got 2 weed eater guys. I try to use 2 mowers. And me and Mr. Mendez, wherever they need us, whenever I get calls from somebody, I take them with them in case I need somebody. I don't like to leave anybody alone. The only one that stays alone right now is the shredder guy. You know, but I go check on him whenever I get a chance.
What is Mendes doing?
What?
What is Danny Mendes?
Well, he's with me in the truck, because I get a lot of calls sometimes. Sometimes I need some help. So I bring him with me. If not, if I got something important to do, or Miss Turner asked me to cut something that you need to go back, I bring everybody.
Hey, Danny, is it possible that we can have the between, or all 181 cleaned up, or all the trash picked up prior to shredding? Because I know
Yeah, that's kind of hard, but we used to, I think before I got here, they used to have a, what do you call it?
We used to do the community service.
Community service.
Yes.
But we had issues because we were using the bailiffs to come in, because otherwise it had to be a city employee working that Saturday morning to watch them and do that. So we started using the bailiffs, and we had to, give them so many hours to come out, but we were getting 1, 2, sometimes we had 6, sometimes we only had 2.
is it possible that we can get in communication with the sheriff tackling and possibly get some trustees and have that cleaned up? Because It looks very horrible whenever, after the shredder gets
Yeah,
up.
because it just tears up all that paper.
Yeah.
But we have to
That
be
would
able
really
to-
help out.
It would. And we have to be able to coordinate with staff, because they
Right.
typically like to have people do community service on Saturday. So we need a group, and so we need to have somebody on Saturday to be able to supervise them. That's one of the requirements. So we definitely will start that. I know right now, Monica is definitely someone who can improve the hours, as well as Alex, if Alex is still here. Alex is also.
And then like Gloria has people that go out to the event center, so Gloria's on there, and I believe Gable needs to sign. But yeah, there's, whoever signs that, those are the only people that can approve the hours. So
Well,
like, we
not
don't,
just people that are doing community service, but actually like trustees that are
in
inmates,
jail.
that are inmates that,
Yeah, I know,
that,
because they used to do like the cemetery and stuff like that right there, by them, they used to take care of that too. But I haven't spoken.
because I know a lot of them would just like to get out from behind the
Well,
walls.
we can talk to Sheriff Tack in reference to doing something like that, and I know Danny would appreciate the help. Pick
Well,
up
that
the-
would help a lot.
I think
Anybody, I don't think anybody, where wants to go on a Saturday?
Even,
We'll get it done.
the road that the mayor mentioned earlier, that's the county road, that's along Walmart, I get a lot of calls, complaints about the wind blowing debris that's there as well.
Henrietta,
Yes, sir.
I will be asking the council, at a later date, for us to start a summer youth program that we can use and hopefully employ, high school students. That will help.
Okay, and I'll make sure the secretary makes note of that, so that we can get that on the agenda at the
Okay.
appropriate
I
time.
think we did have that a couple of years back when I started, but I think, they had a program from the school, and the school will pay them what they do.
I think it's a ROTC.
Was it ROTC? Remember they had that, DECA or something like that, now, when we were in school?
Yeah.
Right?
It will be revisited, that program, because we need, help on the streets, the parks, and other places that is falling behind.
Well, yes, and that helps out the kids too.
Yes, exactly, that's
That's a good
reason why
idea.
I'm asking. Thank you.
Let me suggest, Mr. Turner, that next time we talk to the highway department, let's come up with a plan to do some xeriscaping out there. That way we can eliminate some of the mowing. I know it has to meet certain standards of the highway department, but maybe some stone out there or something that doesn't need cutting that often.
Yes. I'll have to look into the agreement when we took over the control of those easements, with Tex Dot, and I have there are two contacts there that we know back and forth, so we can look at that. And we're gonna be bringing some wayfair signs to the council again very soon. We talked to Tex Dot about that, and so we can bring up that issue as well.
There's a comment.
Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Does the probation office have any people can provide for some of that?
Well, that's the community service we're talking about on
Oh,
Saturday
okay.
mornings. It's just, you have to have them supervised, and they have to do like a little agreement, and
I know they're using some
whoever
of those guys for
signs is able to sign their cards that they did the hours.
I know they're using some of those guys for the cemetery and stuff like that.
Danny, talking about cemeteries, the one on Fourth and Old Sutherland Springs Road, it's not city maintained anymore,
No, that's
Private
privately
signs
owned.
there.
it's a private,
Yeah.
but city used to clean it, right?
They
Or
used-
maintain it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we got projects that are pending right now. We're replacing a lot of backroom fixtures at the pavilion. We're doing a lot of electrical work at the Lodi basketball park, which we want to get going. We're assisting a little bit for the baseball season. They're doing a lot of preparations out there. And we're getting prepared for the soccer league, the spring session to go on this year. We're repairing the restroom plumbing from the baseball concession stand, and repairing the electrical issues at the whole pavilion at City Park.
How's the status on the Lodi basketball?
Well, everything's pretty bad. We took Slaughter out there, the electrician. Yeah. We need to start from the bottom, the box, we need a new box on it. It needs all the breakers, and once he gets that in there, we can take out the lights. And we don't know how many lights, some of them are busted, we don't know which ones work and which ones don't. So, we're taking little by little on it. We'd like to get it going.
Are
you know,
those
to help
Phelps
the kids
owned
out.
lights, so,
Sir?
are those Phelps owned lights?
There are lights.
Okay.
There are lights. But Phelps, we have made contact with Phelps. There was something that was just replaced. Their transformer was just replaced at the sewer plant. And so we've been working with them and on other projects. But they have agreed that they will come out and we're ready. But he had to go find the boxes. I think he's having some health issues, so we're waiting to see if he can come back. He also had death in his family as well. But he's working on the lights, so we're hoping by the time it gets a little bit warmer, that we'll have those lights fixed. Because that's what the council directed me to do.
Danny, the repairs that you're doing, the plumbing and electrical, are these just from wear and tear, or are they preventative?
Yes, a lot, we're trying, it's kind of hard for that guy to get the parts for us, because it's all old.
Now, he's asking if it was vandalism.
From the baseball
or wear and tear.
concessions and the pavilion?
Oh, no, it's just stuff that's breaking.
The first bathroom facility, someone stole the copper out of the pipe and should be replacing that. The baseball concession, they've been having leaky for a long time, and so we have a problem to resolve.
Yeah.
And then on the plaza, the electrical, there are a lot of outlets that are there, but they don't work. And I think Lori reported to me earlier this evening that they've had it out there, they're gonna have to replace the box itself, so they can really do that. And I think it's at a nominal fee of somewhere around $300 to get that replaced. So when people use the pavilion a lot, they need to be able to have the electricity that's there and that it's working, so we don't want anybody overloading anything.
I want to make a comment, Henrietta. The way we maintain this Watts Court, we should maintain low dyne. Bring it up to par as
Yes,
soon as
I
possible.
agree with you.
As soon as possible. Summer's coming, kids are gonna be out of school, they're gonna need a place where to go. And two, we should do something about our center. We should get students, Floresville students, utilize that basketball court.
If I may, we're ready to do those things. We have to get the nets, those are improvements that he's trying to do in reference to the Boys and Girls Club. I know that the Spurs, Little League, they've actually started practicing there, and we're going to be talking about the contract. So we want to be able to get those times and those available. Lori can speak to the fact that we have freed up some time to allow other people to do so. In order for the public to play, and believe me, I have a personal interest, my boy wants to play at that basketball court, but we need to be able to set up something to have monitoring staff as we monitor the youth as they're playing.
Our citizens have priority on that event. Number one, not outsiders. They come second. I know it's gonna upset some, but it's the local people that pay city taxes.
So are you saying free or?
No, I never said free,
That's what I'm asking, so they still pay the rate,
at a lower discount.
like a nonprofit or
How are you doing?
I have a question. When you say that you're preparing for the soccer league spring session, what do you consider preparations?
Well, maintaining, cutting the grass, having everything, you know, the restrooms all cleaned up. What I wanted to do in all these restrooms, because they badly need it, so with that pressure washer you got it? Yeah, I want to pressure wash the whole, you know, inside when I get a chance. Get it real clean. And there's bleachers that Little League took out, and if they don't want it, I can move it over here to the soccer field. I gotta talk to one of the guys
Is that what
over
you're
there.
talking about? The soccer field on the side?
Uh-huh.
You said they took it out where they put it.
They put it over here to the back. It's an old bench or whatever, I mean, little stand. I think it would work. I mean, why, if they're gonna throw it away, if we can use it, I'd move it over here.
There's already a little one there, so why not?
Yeah.
Danny, do they need repairs of any sort? Is that why they?
Maybe a little bit of welding, you know, a little bit more support, but I think it would work.
So they're gonna get rid of it or put it aside?
Well-
It's not a storage area.
No, they just have it thrown back there, so I was thinking, hey, we could move it out of the way and maybe use it.
But Eli does have a welder, right?
Yeah, we have one there, we just gotta get a welder back, he's out on sick leave right now.
Yes, Mr. Robles?
Yes, Mayor. How hard would it be to, like, for example, like, I think the golf course, they're gonna put parks up there and the neighborhood will be responsible for cleaning that park. how hard would it be to do the city in some, that, some kind of the nearest neighbor or two, somebody that wants to be like, responsible for that park or maintenance, repairs, where, something happens, they can more or less use, how hard would it be to put somebody responsible for something like that?
I think at the golf course, don't they pay a homeowners association for that?
I'm sure, but, all these people here that pay taxes, and they should be no problem with what they have, or, what the city's putting for them, but the kids at least, I mean, we do, like, for example, breaking lights, going to the restrooms and tearing them up and stuff, just to get the community involved with what the city's putting out there for them. How hard would it be to do something like that?
Neighborhood watch,
Hmm?
neighborhood watch.
I got something to say. I think Ms. Turner is doing a lot of good here for Floresville. I've been here 6 years and nobody has ever said anything like that about fixing all this. Has you all been to the restrooms in some of the parks here? They're in pretty bad shape, I would like to get things cleaned up if we could, with the help of some money, maybe the Parks Foundation, somebody.
Yes, I was wondering, some of these projects, and I know you're new in this particular job, Danny, so I'm not picking on you, but we've been hearing the problems for some time on some of the same projects. Is it possible to attach a completion date on some of these projects so that we know that they're gonna be completed in a month or 2 months or? And I know you're short of help also, but these discussions have occurred before.
Well, which ones are you really talking? The ones down here at the city park, on the they're gonna get done hopefully in a week or two. Hopefully before the baseball season.
And I'm just talking about that, I'm talking about the Lodi,
Well, no, I don't think it would take that much if we would get somebody to go out there and look at it. Like I said, you gotta start from the bottom.
if we get a completion due date on it, perhaps it can get into.
And
But it doesn't.
and
Well, Mayor, if I may.
financially, there is financial help.
For this particular time, in reference to the Lodi lights, the council did direct staff to fix them. Ron, we're at the mercy of a contractor. So we need to be able to get the contractor. So Trellis is familiar with this area, he's worked with a lot of Phelps. He's come out several different times to be able to do that. We're waiting for him. So I can't give you a deadline, neither can my staff, until we're able to have the contractor come back and say, yes, we need to do that. The bathroom lights that were stolen, the facility that was actually vandalized, that just happened. And we hired a plumber. What they've done, what the council has done, or the staff has done previously, is our water department makes repairs. We hired a licensed plumber to make these repairs. So this time, the bathrooms, when they're gonna replace some of these facilities, we'll have a warranty every 1 year. Same thing is going on with the concession stand. It's been leaking for some time. And what we end up having to do is we're replacing the actual fixture itself, but we are not doing it. We're hired an outside plumber to actually fix it. What's the name of the plumber that's doing that?
Mason, Italian.
Okay. So we hired a local plumber to actually install them because we need to be, and he has one little small leak about the handle and he's going to repair that. So it's not something our water department is doing, we're actually outsourcing this to contractors, a licensed plumber, a licensed electrician, so that we can have it. And so these things will not keep repairing, because they repaired it last year, but we fixed it, staff fixed it. So this time we're having a plumber with a warranty, and we should not have these problems that are ongoing.
Do you think we could use another electrician since we know that?
Actually, we did have another electrician that came up for the pavilion. His name, Gloria?
His name is James Herrera, and he did some work when our lights, excuse me, when our parking lights weren't, our park lights weren't working at the event center. He went out there and fixed them to where they would come on and off.
And he's a licensed electrician?
He's a licensed electrician.
And he's a
gonna fix
licensed
that.
electrician.
And he's gonna go in to do that, but we need Danny to coordinate so we can have the two proposals to come, because I think it can be, I think what I proposed to last time is anywhere between $800 to $1,200 to fix it, and so we need to be able to bring that back to council to make sure that you all understand. Is that like that?
We're not in a standstill waiting for somebody and the project will continue.
No, we're just waiting for parts, because like I said, those parts, the restrooms are old, it has old parts on them, and they're hard to get.
4 and 5 week lead time on ordering a water closet, commode, toilet, whatever people want to call it, because we have to have it to meet what we have, and they're kind of antiquated.
So we can't put new commodes in there and
It's, when they, now everything is manufactured to fit, and so the fixtures are there, so it doesn't line up. So you have to order that type of fix because of where the plumbing is and where it comes out of the wall.
Especially on the air.
Yes. So hopefully we'll have that done before the spring. We put the 21st, because that's when the activity will start happening. But we're hoping that we can get all these projects done.
Any more questions?
Just two comments. I'm probably directed to Ms. Turner and members of the council. We keep on hearing about all the issues at the park. How things are antiquated and beyond repair. And I know there was council support, there was EDC support. At some time or another, we're going to have to address this as a community, and we have to work together to make this happen. We're going to have to address these issues. I mean, every time we hear it, things are outdated, they're antiquated, it can't be fixed. There's potholes. As you know, 2 years ago, part of the park was condemned. So we are going to have to address that at some time in the very near future. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that was precisely my point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forget.
You're not the mayor, she is.
Thank you, Danny.
That was precisely my point, Danny, is that we keep talking about these same things, and if we're talking about bringing in people and holding major events and bringing heads to beds, and then they go and use the track, and they use the bathroom, what kind of impression do you think they get? I mean, I've gone into those bathrooms, they're terrible, at the Con Park especially.
No heaters?
At several workshops we had with the EDC, and I think also with the meetings that I've gone to the Parks Foundation, I'm going to say it again. I'm the first one to reach out my hand. I say, let's work together to make this happen.
Exactly.
We have to make this happen. And the next item is the holiday extravaganza. If the council supports it, I support Mr. Jones' idea that let's help the Parks Foundation with revenue if there's any extra money. But one more comment on the parks update. Is there any truth that there's a private investor trying to rent fields out there?
Councilman, last year, the city, I was approached by a private investor who wanted to rent fields, and I did not bring that forward to the council because what we was make sure the Little League was serviced. I do know that the Little League is working with someone to use the fields and to practice on the fields, and they're coordinating and representing that because what comes first is what Councilman Ortiz talked about is our kids come first. And we do know that those are our local kids. And so we're hoping to be able to do that, but they're both working in conjunction. There's
nothing that they pay the city so many dollars to use the fields right now.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okey-dokey.
No other questions, right? Now we're going to go on to 2E, holiday extravaganza funded by the hotel motel tax. Councilman Tejada.
Okay. I put this on the agenda because as we discussed in the first item, to bring people to Floresville. And this didn't just start with the holiday extravaganza. It actually started about 10 years ago. When I was on the EDC as president of EDC, we used to have a lighting ceremony here at the courthouse to light up the Christmas tree and make downtown really nice. I asked the EDC at that time to help me support a night parade to bring people into our town. We advertised in the San Antonio Express Weekender. On the very first parade, we had about 10,000 people. The EDC at that time, I think, allowed me to spend $250 so we can give trophies to the most elaborate float and so forth. But the idea is to bring people into Floresville. We don't have a city that's full of smokestacks, so let's take care of, let's bring people in based on the beauty of our city. And for about 2 or 3 years, it was a very successful parade, bringing people in. Once I became mayor, I was kindly told that I should not be involved with planning a parade, so I stepped away. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a worker. I was literally, putting signs out for the parade, making things work for the city. I don't own a downtown business. I don't own any businesses. It's just my passion for the city. With that same thought in mind of bringing people to Floresville during the holiday, I came up with an idea, because we have a beautiful building that can hold 3,000 people, the largest public facility south of San Antonio, north of Laredo. And Ms. Turner has mentioned it several times in her presentations, we need to do more than weddings and quinceaneras. The building was designed for large events, concerts, religious gatherings, comedians, car shows, things that bring people into our city. That's why it was designed. So back in, I believe it was 2010, we had the first holiday extravaganza. And I just asked for a few volunteers to help me organize it. I think the city paid deposits from hotel motel tax, through ticket sales, and do we have that program, Ms. Turner?
The notebook was, it's on his desk.
Where?
It's right there, Danny, on the red binder.
I don't see it.
No, it's behind, in your, right there, that one.
I don't see it. No, the program. We put together an event, and again, the city just paid the deposits through ticket sales and sponsorships. The first event, we had about 1,200 people. And I could be wrong, but I believe we charged $25 a person. We had concessions that night. We had publicity through Ken's TV. Remember, we had Ken's TV here promoting Floresville. We were talking about our early college. We were talking about our beautiful downtown. We were talking about our developing golf course. The second year, we got a little fancier. We were charging $50 a person to come into the event. And keep in mind, yes, we do have about maybe 200 or 300 people that are coming in from Floresville, but the rest are coming from outside of Floresville, and many from out of state. And if you don't mind, I'd like to pass this out around. I think oftentimes we have a perception that it was just a big party. It was just a beer drinking bash. I've been to plenty of corporate events to know how it should be planned. And let me tell you, it was a very professional event. People have told me it was one of the most premier events of this kind with that type of music in the entire state. Let me pass this around so you can see what it was all about. And even advertisements that we have here were sold to local businesses. I'm going to ask the council to go back and revisit this. And if you look at the item on the agenda, it doesn't say give the money to Danny Tejada to fund it. But let's find a way to bring people to Floresville during the holiday season. And at some time we should bring that night parade back too. Like I told the gentleman that was speaking to us earlier, people already had in their minds, during the holiday season, we're going to have some of the best entertainment around in Floresville. Whether it be country western or Tejano music, we had some of the very best. And that's what brings people into Floresville. We had people from Illinois, we had people from Wisconsin, we had people from I think one time even Alaska coming in. And these might be winter Texans that are passing through, but they are staying here in our motels. And so often, in the last few meetings that I've been to with EDC, the underlying theme is that we have to stop that negativity. We have to start working together. So with that, I'll leave it open for any questions, any comments. Yes, ma'am?
Danny, with the second one, was there money made on that event?
The second one, I don't know,
2011, I mean, I would think as good stewards of.
you know what, I don't think we made a large amount of money, because on the first night, we had a country western, we had 2 country western bands, and we had a very poor attendance.
How come?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Okay, I mean, all right.
We had Johnny Lee. If you're familiar with Johnny Lee, he's with came out of the movie The Urban Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby Flores, every time Bobby Flores comes to Floresville, it's a very successful event. And we've had Paul Rodriguez here, I mean, world-renowned comedian.
When you charged the $50, did you get as many attending as you did at $25?
Yes, it was full. We had a full capacity every time. And even when the city canceled it in 2012, and you remember, I held the event, I still had about 800 visitors.
Okay, you had as many people and charged 50. So my next question is, did the first one make?
Yes, if you remember, we gave $10,000 to the Girl Scouts, and I believe $5,000 to the Parks Foundation.
Okay, but with the second one, you weren't able to do that?
No, we broke even, I believe. And keep in mind, we're going door to door asking for donations. On the one that was canceled, I had a check in my hand for $10,000 from HEB that we had to return. We estimated on that particular night $15,000 in donations. People were excited about this event. People were excited because it was bringing recognition to our city.
Okay. I just think the important thing is that we don't lose money.
Right.
At least.
But Mr. Haas, keep in mind, when we say not losing money, when this gentleman spoke right here and asked for $30,000, the city will not get a check back for $30,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I agree that we should, that Mr. Jones look into it, because I, as one, would not like any of us to be involved in it for that reason that you say, that it's not going to Danny or to me or someone else. That we keep our hands clean from it, because no matter whether Danny says it didn't go to him, people are still going to have that idea that it did.
Right.
So we have somebody else taking care of it, and I know Ms. Turner, she's got her hands full, and I don't know if she's got the staff to do all that, you know. So, and also, what I would like to have is like that gentleman presented, so much going for each, so we know where the dollar is going. We have to account for the dollars, as you say, that we don't, you know, come out short.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't come up with that is because of, you don't know what an artist will cost, and you don't want to bring a regular, ordinary house band, because that's not going to bring you any money. You're not going to fill a building with 1,200 people with a house band. It has to be somebody with a recognition for people to buy tickets at $25, $30, or $40 a ticket. From past experience, you know, I'm not an event planner. I don't consider myself so, but I do feel that our events were very successful. I think all the council members, including the mayor, attended the event. Eric, I think you went, right?
No, sir.
No? Some of the staff, the city workers enjoyed it because that was part of their Christmas gathering. But keep it also, the city employees were selling scrap metal and cans to go to the event.
Danny, when the city employees and the council members went, did they pay to enter?
Yes, I paid. I paid also.
So looking at past experience where you had a 2-day event, it would be recommended that we hold it to a 1-day event?
I think we need to get back on track and let people know Floresville's the place to be during Christmas, and now hopefully during Memorial Day also.
I'm all about bringing people into the city of Floresville, you know. That's why I wanted to bring this into the city of Floresville. But, you know, I just feel strongly that city staff should not have any part of doing any type of planning of this type for this event. Because, you know, you heard it from Alex, you heard it from Danny, you know, they need equipment, they need staff, you know, the city employees have needs, and whenever you take it away from the city itself, the employees are the ones that have to suffer. You know, not just the citizens because it's their money, but you know, the employees, the guys that have to work out in the elements with a weed eater that doesn't want to start, a lawnmower that cuts crooked, you know, or whatever it may be. So.
I agree with you, Eric. I don't expect Ms. Turner to be sitting behind the desk and selling tickets. How do we partner with the Parks Foundation? How do we do that?
Well, Mayor, I actually am the park liaison and I attend most of your meetings, and they've had a discussion and they sent me a voting action, and the president is here. They did express dialogue. I think the challenge was the date because it was coming up so quickly, and they have other events such as the one that was mentioned earlier. But I did have some preliminary discussions with the president, and it was a conversation that they wouldn't mind partnering, and the positivity is what I really want to come out of that effort to do. People keep talking about numbers and price and how much, and something similar to what Mr. Graves did. I would love to be able to sit there and do that if that's what you all are interested in doing. We can look at just preliminary outline of cost or some type of time frame so we can say what this will actually cost. And of course, depending on the cost of the acts, and we can have like, you know, A act and B act, an opening act, then how many tickets you need to sell to offset. Break even is something I can live with. Losing money is something I don't want to deal with. Making money is always a good thing. So I haven't spent any time or energy in reference to what a budget would be or preparing any type of preliminary budget. I was waiting to see if this is something that the council wanted to do, which is why we put it on for an action item for tonight. So I have some, Councilman Tejada was nice enough to share some history with me and what happened, because I don't have a basis to draw from, but I am familiar with doing concerts. My previous employer did concerts all summer, so it's something to do, and Gloria has looked at some dates, and ironically we found out that December 5th is actually the birthday of Floresville. The city of Floresville will be 121.
And there is another date available, December 19th, and that's at my birthday.
We marked that one on the calendar, but we were looking at.
So we said December 5th.
So I can come back with some preliminary budget numbers and preliminary things, because, you know, time is important, and earlier we try to, so we can talk about commitments, but I can't talk about a band costing X or a band costing Y until I'm able to sit there and do that. But I'm waiting to have a council action so that staff can go forward. Something similar to what happened last week, and I'm going to have numbers for you on those signs. Actually, one gentleman wants to come out and do a demonstration so we can go outside and actually see one. We're planning on that for the 12th meeting, so hopefully we can get that going.
David, at this time, could you please discuss what we've been discussing?
Well, what we've been discussing, and actually it's in your packages, is a hotel two-step. So we just know that one of the questions that some people have asked me is, can you really use hotel motel tax for that? And thanks to our illustrious attorney, he has pounded in us that these are the things. And so one of the things is part one, which is easy. The first step is that it has to do heads events. It fits that criteria. The second criteria, there's like 9 of them, but they talk about promoting the arts. And the arts can be physical art. It can be an art event, and music and entertainment definitely falls into that. And I know people are talking about the opera, so that is definitely an art as well. So we can talk about things like that, you can support that event. So it does qualify for a hotel motel tax. I have been sitting here and got really excited, and when I watched myself on the Wilson County News, I thought, man, I got really animated at me talking about the tourism bill that we've been talking about until actually that you will have approved when you made the last vote in reference to board members to create this new board. This is something that's gonna happen, but we don't necessarily wanna wait until I get it all set up. We have a draft, amendment, we have a draft.
We have a draft tonight.
Yeah, we have a draft, but I haven't read it yet, but we have a draft in reference to say what this board can and cannot do. But in layman's terms, because the attorneys put all the whereas and therefores on it, basically what we need to have is a staff member, an event planner, someone to work with Gloria and to work with marketing the city of Floresville, coming together to come up with this plan. And you can use hotel motel tax to pay that person, to buy furniture for that person. And my comptroller will nod yes, but these are expenses that we can have. And we have right now over $500,000. I think we're at $600,000 and counting. We approved earlier this year to have the hotel motel tax audited. And I think after that audit, we'll probably even have more than that. And so we really need to use this money. You can't use it for anything else other than promoting the city heads to beds. And so we're hoping that we can get staff in place, use this hotel motel tax to be able to run all these events that you're talking about, the coordination between other people who come in, there's a balloon and all those kind of things, all those things to be able to coordinate that, because they still have to come before you. I think one of the first conversations Mr. Ortiz and I had was ultimately everything has to go to the council. So whatever's planned or whatever's coming, whether it be we are able to hire someone who's certified in how to do this industry, because it's a whole industry all by itself, that the council will be able to give direction, they go do, but the council will be able to review and critique whatever it is. Because you all live here and have to go to HEB and shop at HEB and not necessarily be inundated on Facebook about what they did or did not like. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping that you will allow this to move forward, that I can come up with a budget, some designs for our wonderful sign for the event center, and also a long-term range is how we can coordinate this, and then of course the bylaws. That's what bylaws for the new created tourism bureau. So to give you a recap, it would be a representation of the city who you can put on that board to represent, some members of the 4A, some members of the hospital, represented from the school, because everybody in the hospital, because everybody has a different idea of tourism. And I know people say, how does a hospital have anything to do with tourism? Well, one of the things you want to know when you're asking for it, and I don't know if you ever noticed when you go to conferences, is that they tell you, here's a local hospital. People get sick when they go there. When we presented, Mr. Talley presented here, he was talking about you're out of district, but if you're traveling and you get sick, you're not out of district. Okay? So those kind of things, so the hospital, we want to be able to talk about, because they're in the black, to talk about, you know, here's your local hospitals, the health industry is here. Definitely Cycle Ranch needs to know when they get hurt out there, mucking around in the mud, that there's a local hospital here. And so those kind of things we need to be able to know, that we are a full-service community. We have a hospital, a police department, a fire department. They're state-of-the-art. We have them, and so we're hoping that we can market our community. Traveling is the number one thing. People travel, shop, and eat. Sales tax all day long. Hotel motel tax is our goal. So I would just, if anybody would ask, my recommendation, I would recommend that you approve this to go forward, to allow staff to prepare budgets, to come back, and then you can look at the budget that we're proposing, and just a simple outline. Please remember, but in a minute, I said simple outline. So it won't be detailed as who's coming, but we can say these types of acts could come for these type of, because of course it's all negotiation. Please, you talk loud, you know the microphone.
Okay, wait. Yes, and this talks a lot about money, and it talks about the hotel and motel tax. And when Henrietta and I sat down and we started talking about the holiday extravaganza and also having to promote the city of Floresville for events, I suggested to her, and I was very adamant on it, that I'm not ready to let go the money of hotel motel tax to a board. When you allow a board to handle money that is being collected and keep track of and audited by the city, it is very hard for things to happen as fast as they should. What I suggested to Henrietta was, instead of doing a board,
another board, another step that we're gonna have to wait to get events done. The city of San Antonio has one for the city to have an event center department. And that's how these will be functioning. And we will take care of that department, will be hiring the person that will take care of promoting the city, doing the marketing, the advertising. It's being housed in the civic center. Make sure that if the ranch event is gonna be adopted and accepted by the council, that this one person makes sure that things are gonna flow into Floresville, and they're not just gonna stay over there at the ranch. So we need actually an employee of the city that we can go ahead and manage, and we can go ahead and direct by the council, instead of being directed by a board that still has to come and ask permission to the council. That was my suggestion too.
And we can create such a position by doing a simple budgeting, because of course, the money is there enough to do that. My idea is to have it in an advisory capacity, because it would be like when they meet, it would be like a workshop and brainstorming. But we would want to meet again as a council so that you can give them clear direction as to what do you want to see. The mayor tells me every day in reference to events that she wants to see to come back to Floresville downtown, or events that she would like to come to downtown Floresville, as we're having this summer events, and we started with some painting and some new signs and some, but it's kind of slow. So we're hoping to pick up the pace and to bring back EDC projects like they did before, going forward. So we're hoping that we can collaborate, put it together. Staff is getting an idea of what, like having these conversations of what you're looking for, so we can get an advisory board, but also staff that can be funded by the hotel motel tax. This will allow us to be good stewards of this project, of this money. Because over $600,000 is a lot of money. $670,000? Yeah, we're at $670,000 and counting. As my auditor always tells me, these are unaudited numbers, but it's in the ballpark of going towards $700,000 very soon.
And because of the urgency, I think that Mr. Gray is talking about, we might need to act quicker than we go up, hire somebody. So I'm going to make the motion that we approve the holiday extravaganza and any...
This is just discussion right now.
Oh, that's not an action item?
No.
So what are you asking?
What I'm asking is, just like you did for the signs, to say for staff to go and to prepare for an event, the holiday extravaganza event, to prepare budgetary to bring back to the council for